have my son who's in town from California and his girlfriend whose name is Flo. So today's class is Go with the Flow, FLO. So laying down on your mat, and let's stretch here first. So reaching the arms overhead and pointing and maybe flexing the ankles. And if you want, you can interlace your fingers and press your palms away and get a little stretch into the palms and the wrists. And then let's take our hands alongside of our hips and let's just turn our palms up here. So almost as if we were in Shavasana here to start our practice. And just begin to breathe. Take in any sounds around you. If you're outside, maybe the cool breeze. And then let's gather our knees up into our chest and give yourself a nice hug here and draw your forehead up toward your knees. And then go ahead and set your feet down to the mat about hip distance apart. And let's just begin to twist it out here just a little bit. So we're relieving any tension in the low back. Just like a little windshield wiper. Knees are going from side to side. And then slowing that down, let's go ahead and bridge up. Lift the hips up off the ground here and slide that block right in underneath your hips. And you want to kind of shift it around a little bit until you are right close to your tailbone. You can take your hands and put them behind your low back just to make sure that in the lumbar area of your spine, you don't have the block. You want to be below that area towards the tailbone. And just maybe let that block be on a nice sturdy setting, not too high. And then just ungrip any of your glute muscles, core muscles. This is a nice low back tension release. Just settling here. And then let's take both of the legs up towards the ceiling or the sky. Just raise your legs up and maybe flex your ankles. So still on the block. Legs don't have to be completely straight here, but you want to use your core maybe just a tiny bit to keep the legs lifted. And then we're going to begin to make little tiny circles with our heels. So maybe little inner circles, moving the legs out and back in together, as if you were painting little Google eyes on the sky or the ceiling. And then very slowly make those circles bigger and bigger. Notice that little massage that you get in the low back where the block is. And then slowing those circles down, we'll switch directions. So starting out with little outer small circles, switching directions. And then going bigger and bigger and wider. Good work. All right, just hug your right knee in towards your chest and slowly lower your left leg. Now go nice and slow so that you keep your core engaged just a little bit, getting that stretch into the front of that left hip flexor. Maybe even that left heel can tap down to the mat. Maybe. If your hip flexors aren't too terribly tight this morning. And then switch, take the legs up to the sky and switch legs. Clasp your left knee and slowly tap the right heel out long to your mat, maybe a long way down. And then take both legs back up. We'll do that one more time on each side. Clasp the right knee into your chest. Slowly lower the left. Make sure you don't overarch your back in order to tap the mat. And switching legs last time. Take both legs up and lower both feet down to the mat. We're going to go ahead and bridge up, slide that block out from underneath you. And we're just going to hug that right knee back into the chest. Straighten your left leg and just reach through that left heel as if you were standing on your mat or standing on the wall in front of you. And then we're going to do something called a half happy baby. So bring your right heel up to the ceiling, but keep your right knee bent. And then take the fingertips of your right hand to the pinky toe side of that right foot. Nice. This is half happy baby. And you're just drawing that knee a little bit closer towards your armpit, getting some hip opening here. And go ahead and release that right foot. We'll hug both knees into the chest. And if you want to rock here a little bit side to side in between sides, you can. And then we'll take that right leg nice and long on your mat. You're going to bend the left knee. Bring that left heel up to the sky. Half happy baby on the other side. See if you can reach for the pinky toe side of that left foot. Now really reach through and lengthen through that right leg. Breathe here. I'm going to get that stretch into the hips. And then go ahead and hug both knees back into the chest. We're going to start rocking back and forth, like rolling like a ball here. So massaging from the tailbone to the shoulder blades, Keep the chin tucked to the chest. And when you're ready, we're going to roll all the way up and onto our knees. And we're going to move through a couple of cat and cow breaths. So inhale, lift the heart, drop the belly. And exhale, round the spine. Inhale, lift the heart. And exhale, round. Couple more times here. We're just moving with your breath. And then let's settle our hips back down towards our heels and let's take a child's pose. So really rooting the hips back. And if your forehead can dip down to the mat, that's great. If it doesn't quite make it, you can stack your hands on top of each other and bring your forehead to the top of your hands. So child's pose is another pose. It's great for the low back. One more breath here. So full inhale and full exhale. Very carefully, we're just going to start to walk up to a hero's pose. So we're sitting hips on top of heels. Now, if your knees aren't necessarily appreciating this pose, a block is a great thing to put between your calves, and then you can sit back onto that block. Just softens that knee bend. Choose any height you want on that block. Good work. All right. So again, we're kind of working on that low back. We're sitting up nice and tall. Draw your shoulders back. Inhale, reach up, full inhale. And on your exhale, twist to your right. Look over that right shoulder and keep that nice tall torso. And inhale, reach up. And exhale, twist left. And inhale, reach up. Exhale, right. Inhale up. Exhale, left. All right, inhale, come on up. Draw the palms together. Exhale, hands to the heart space. So we're going to do one more thing with block for more of our upper back. So we're going to take that block right underneath our hands and just kind of bring your forearms so that they kind of face each other. Yeah. All right. So we're going to do an inhale, drop the belly, look up. And then on your exhale, push into the block. Tuck your chin to your chest. You should get a little more stretch between the shoulder blades. We carry a lot of tension in our shoulders. Inhale, drop the belly, look up. And exhale, round. Maybe two more times here. Drop your hips back to your heels and slide that block forward. We're gonna stack our hands on top of the block, really stretching that block out in front. Now, as you come forward, your chest onto your thighs, you should feel that great stretch in your shoulder joints. And then inhale, we're going to come on up to hands and knees. You can set your block aside. We're going to work through a couple of twists. So look down at your hands, spread your fingers nice and wide. And we're going to ground through that left hand. So on your inhale, sweep up to the right, twist open, and then on your exhale, thread it underneath your left armpit and just dip your shoulder down to the mat, but we're not going to stay here. Inhale, reach back up, moving with your breath. Twist, exhale, thread through. Maybe you can come in a little deeper to that shoulder. Inhale, come on up. Third time's a charm. Exhale, thread through, reach through to that left side as far as you can, and keep your left hand down onto the mat, at least initially. And make sure that there's no stress or strain on your neck or your head. If you feel okay, you can take that left arm up and you can let it drape behind your back. Maybe even set your palm to that low back. A lot of our poses are going to emphasize the low back this morning. And then carefully replace the left hand to the mat, and we'll spin open again to the right, reach up, and exhale back down. All right, switching sides. Inhale, sweep up, big breath. Exhale, thread through. Inhale, open the heart. Exhale through. Inhale, reach up. Last time, twisting and thread through. Reach to that right side as far as you can. I'm going to stretch into the triceps. Gently rest your head, your temple down to the mat. You can keep that right hand down for support, or you can reach it up and place it on that low back. And very slowly unwinding back to hands and knees. Yep, you can sweep open. Sorry. Awesome. All right. From here, let's step our right foot forward. And we're going to start to come into a really deep low lunge. So take your time here. You can heel toe your foot to the right edge of your mat. And you can stay supported with your hands on the mat. Another thing that you could do is you could come down to your forearm on a block. Or if you can go a little deeper, you can come down to your forearms without the block. And this is lizard pose. Lounging lizard pose, to be more specific. And then slowly we'll come back up to your hands. Plant that left hand. We're going to spin open to the right. Not just an option here. You can bend that back left knee and reach the right hand back towards the foot. or not. All right, very nice. All right, let's take both hands down to the mat. We're gonna heel toe this right foot back in. And let's step back to hands and knees. Let's come into our first down dog. So tuck your toes under, root your hips back and away. See if you can somewhat duplicate that feeling in your shoulders that we had when the block was way out in front of us for child's pose. So you may need to walk your hands forward a little bit, creating a little bit of a longer dog. Slight bend to the knees. Those hamstrings may be tight. Feel free to walk your dog out here, bending one knee, straightening the other. And then slowly with control, drop your knees back down to the mat, hands and knees. And we're gonna move into lizard pose on the other side. So that left foot steps forward. Start to reach the hips forward, heel toe that left foot out to the edge of your mat. You can move that block into place if you'd like. For lizard pose. Getting deep into that right hip flexor. And of course, the left hip opening. Very slowly make your way back up to your hands and we'll spin open to the left. So there's a tendency here, like I'm doing, is really sagging into this right shoulder. Try to push up and out of that right shoulder. So strengthening the shoulder, spinning open, option to bend that right knee, hand reaches back for the foot. And then slowly we'll take that left hand back to the mat. Heel toe your left foot back into place. And you can come to hands and knees, or you can just root the hips back for down dog. Lengthening the spine here. Remember, those knees don't have to be straight. Our canine friends do not straighten their knees in down dog. All right, look up to your hands and just take as many steps as you need. Keep those knees soft. Walk up to the top of your mat. Keep your feet about hip distance apart. Take your time. We're just gonna hang here like a rag doll. You can take your hands to the opposite elbows. And you wanna give yourself enough knee bend that your chest comes to your thighs. You get rid of that daylight. All right, bring your hands to the top of your shins and then let's lengthen up halfway. Exhale, fold. And inhale, root to rise. We'll come all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands come down to the heart space. So we're gonna pause here for a couple of breaths in Anjali Mudra, prayer pose. Lower the shoulders away from the ears. Root up through the crown of the head. Maybe close your eyes. Even out the inhales and the exhales. Inhale, reach up, full breath. Exhale, swan dive over. Keep a little soft bend to the knees. Inhale, come on up halfway. Hands to the top of the shins. Exhale, fold. And inhale, bend the knees, root to rise. Big breath. Let the palms meet overhead, draw the navel into the spine. Exhale, hands lower to the heart space. All right, inhale, reach. Exhale, flow forward. Inhale, come on up halfway. On your exhale, go ahead and start to bow down to the ground. But what we're going to do here is take that right leg back to a lunge. Reach through the right heel. Plant that right hand, twist open to the left. Keep reaching through that right heel, pressing up out of your right shoulder. And on your exhale, we're going to take that left hand down to the mat, step back plank. If you're battling any shoulder issues, you can dip the knees for a low plank. And then slowly come all the way down to the mat, chaturanga. Hug the elbows in towards your rib cage. Peel up. Use those back muscles to slowly rise up for cobra. Nice. Exhale, tuck your toes under. Come on back to down dog. And then look up to your hands. Step your feet forward. Come on up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root to rise, coming all the way up. Palms meet overhead, and then we're just going to come right back over. Inhale, lengthening the spine halfway. Exhale, bowing over the legs. Start to bend your legs. We're switching sides. So take that left leg back for lunge. Reach through that left heel. Plant that left hand. Spin open. Keep reaching through that left heel. Nice, strong back leg. Beautiful, everyone. Exhale, hand comes down to the mat. Vinyasa, plank. Lower chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. And exhale, down dog. And look up to your hands. Step or jump your feet forward. Rise up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root to rise. Come all the way up. And exhale, hands to the heart space. All right, I'm going to change my mat here just for a moment, but I want you to grab your block because we're going to do a little something different for the next vinyasa. So put the block at the front of your mat and make sure that you're stepping back about 1.5 feet. Inhale, reach up, full breath. And exhale, fold forward. So as you fold forward, you should be looking down, nose towards that block. And then inhale, come on up halfway. On your exhale, bend your knees. Carefully place your hands on either side of your feet. Step back, plank. Now when we lower, we're gonna slide our forehead, our crown of our head right in front of that block as you carefully lower. And I want you to feel your hair on that block. So when we inhale and we lift up for Cobra, we're actually lengthening the spine and we're knocking that block over. It takes some practice. All right, exhale, come on down. Tuck your toes under, make your way to down dog. 3 connecting breaths here in your down dog. All right, next inhale, look up to your hands, step your feet forward. Come on up halfway. Now when we're in our half lift here, go ahead and if you knocked your block, you can reset it. So you're a good foot and a half back from that block. So make your adjustments. Exhale, fold, and inhale, root to rise, come all the way back up. Exhale, hands to the heart space. The importance of this particular exercise for Cobra is to get the length in the spine, because we tend to just push up with our arms. We don't have that trajectory forward, so we're essentially jamming that low back. So a lot of times when people do a lot of yoga, they think, oh my gosh, my low back's hurting. And you got to think what might be causing that. All right, so inhale, reach up, full breath. We'll do it one more time. Exhale, swan dive over. Inhale to that half lift. Your block should be right underneath your face. Exhale, bend your knees. Make sure you plant your hands on either side of your feet. Step back, plank. That keeps the spacing correct. Slowly lower. So the crown of the head is just sliding right in front of that block. You want to make sure that you're so close to that block that you can feel your hair on the block. And then when you inhale and you come up for Cobra, you're knocking that block over. Success. Awesome. Exhale, down dog. Root the hips back and away. Finding your breath here. Look up to your hands, step or jump your feet forward. Come on up, halfway. Exhale to fold. Inhale, root to rise. Good work. Exhale, lower the hands to the heart. Okay, we're gonna set up for pyramid pose. So take your right foot straight back, all 10 toes facing forward. Legs are in 2 track lines. Hands can go on the hips or you can interlace them behind your back. Inhale, gaze up. If you're outside, this makes balance really difficult. On your exhale, hinge forward. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Gazes down at that left big toe. All right, inhale, root back up. Release the hands. You can shake out the shoulders if you need to. All right, we're gonna do a revolved pyramid pose. So you can take the block and you can set it kind of in front of that right foot, but even with your left foot. And then let's just start with our hands on our hips. Inhale, squeeze the elbows towards each other. Look up. Exhale, hinge forward. Now drop that right hand to the top of the block. Spin to your left. You should feel this in the left IT band. You can take your left arm up to the sky and your gaze follows. And on your exhale, Go ahead and come back down. You maybe set both hands either on the block or on the top of the shin. Hands can come onto the hips. Hinge on up. All right, let's step that right foot forward and the left foot back. So 2 track lines. We'll do the pyramid pose first with choice of hands on the hips or interlace your hands behind your back. Inhale to gaze up. Exhale to hinge forward. And see if you can keep your hips even with each other. One more breath here. Inhale, reach up. Right, release the hands. And you can set that block on the, just the inside of that right foot. Hands on the hips. Inhale to look up. Exhale to hinge forward. Left hand on top of the block. I mean, you can come with whatever setting works for you. And then spin open to the right. And then that right hand comes down. You can bring both hands to the block or maybe to the shin if you need a little more height. And then hands to the hips. Squeeze the elbows towards each other, hinge on back up. Good work. All right, step the feet together. So today's balancing pose is going to be a revolved half moon. So it's essentially what we just did in pyramid. The only thing that's going to be different is we're going to be raising that back leg. So, and generally the block is going to want to be in front of our feet. So take the block in front of your left foot. And step your left foot back. So as if you were going to do pyramid pose. Yeah. So inhale, look up. Squeeze those elbows together. Exhale, hinge forward like you're coming into that pyramid pose. This time we're going to take our left hand forward to the top of the block. Put a slight bend maybe in that right knee to lift that back leg up. Now keep the legs square. And if you want to revolve your half moon, you can reach your right arm open into a twist. All right. Go ahead and lift that left leg pendulum right next to the right, forward fold. Inhale, come on up halfway. Exhale, fold again. This time we're just going to switch that block in front of the right foot. Root to rise, come all the way up. And exhale, hands to the heart space. We're just stepping that right foot back. All 10 toes facing forward. Hands on the hips. Squeeze the elbows, the shoulder blades towards each other. You can inhale, look up. Exhale, hinge forward. Maybe just the slightest bend in that left knee, and you can bring your right hand to the top of the block. Lift that back right leg up. And then twist open to the left. revolved half moon. And with that right leg pendulum right next to the left, fold forward. Inhale, come on up halfway. Exhale, fold. But now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna bring the heels of the feet together and the knees are gonna open and we're just gonna kind of take in a nice low squat. So if my son Jason was still here, he's gone inside to work, he would tell you that this is lightning pose. So in Boy Scouts, they do this pose to kind of lower their center of gravity or whatever, but it's a nice low back stretch. So we're gonna start to walk our fingertips forward and we're gonna bow our head down towards the mat and keep rooting the hips back. And then slowly walk your hands back in. Sink your hips, your heels towards the mat. Try to parallel your legs. Maybe float the arms up in front of you. All right, press all the way up to standing. Beautiful. Exhale, hands to the heart space. All right, let's do one more balancing pose. We're gonna use the block. Might be challenging with a little bit of wind out here. This essentially is just gonna be kind of a modification of tree pose. We're gonna hold our blocks like this, kind of long ways. Draw it right in towards your core. And we're just gonna pick up one knee. So the idea here is to keep the hips even and bring that knee up to parallel to the ground. When you're ready, set the block on top of the thigh, reach your arms up. Now, if you want a little extra, you can take your hands to the block. You're gonna reach your arms forward and take that right leg back. Towards a warrior three pose. If you still have a little bit left, you can take that knee back up, set the block. And then grab your block and lower back down. A lot of work on that standing leg. Good, good balance work. All right, march your legs out if you want. Circle the ankles. And we'll switch sides. So your gazing point, and then lift that left foot. So a lot of times when we lift the knee, we hike the hip up. So really keeping that hip even. Rest the block on your thigh, and the arms reach overhead. When you're ready, hands can come down to the block. Reach your arms forward and your leg back. And next transition, knee comes in, block to the top of the thigh, and arms reach back up. Hands come to the block, step back down. Good work. Circle the ankles out. All right. We're gonna take another flow here, if it's okay with flow. And we're gonna come into pigeon pose. So come to the tops of your mats and inhale, full breath. And exhale, flow forward. Inhale, come on up halfway. Exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands, take the legs back to plank. As you lower, pretend that that block is right in front of the crown of your head. And as you inhale, find that forward trajectory as you peel up for cobra or up dog. Exhale, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Take that right leg up to the sky, three-legged dog. Bend the knee, draw it into your chest. Wave forward for pigeon pose. Make sure that right knee goes wide. And you can stay upright here for a few breaths if you'd like. If you feel too much tension in that low back, this does tend to put some compression on the low back. So be careful. You can walk your arms forward to release that compression. Sleeping swan pose. Just letting go here. And then start to make your way upright again. Tuck that left toes under. Come back to your three-legged dog. Maybe make some hip circles. Switching directions. And bringing that right foot back to the mat for down dog. We'll switch sides. Let's take that left leg up, three-legged dog. Energize through that entire leg, reaching it up high to the sky. And then draw your knee forward. Angle your shin across your mat for pigeon on the other side. Get that nice hip opening. You can maybe stay upright for a back bend if you'd like. Pay attention to how that low back feels. And then walking your hands forward. Just letting go here. If your mind starts to wander, just bring your thoughts back to your breath. And then taking your time, we'll come back upright. Step back to your down dog. You can take that left leg up and circle the hip. Coming back to your down dog. Let's slowly, with control, bring the knees down to the mat. And then walk the knees wide, big toes together for a wide knee child's pose. on up to hands and knees. You can take a final down dog here if you want, or you can crawl up to the top of your mat and have a seated position. So either way, you can come up to seated from hands and knees, or you can come into a final down dog to lengthen your spine. And then look up at your hands, hop or jump your feet forward. And then let's hug our knees into our chest. You want to make sure that you got plenty of room to roll back onto your mat. So you want to be at the front of your mat and hug your knees into your chest. So we don't have time for any more core, sorry. Go ahead and lower down to the mat. Maybe take a nice long stretch here. And hugging your knees into your chest. So nurturing your body here, maybe just pausing for a moment and deciding what you need. So maybe bring a little awareness to that low back. Maybe you want a few twists. Maybe you want that full happy baby. Maybe you want to come into bridge. Maybe you want to return to bridge on the block if your block's within reach. All up to you. And then begin to make your way into Shavasana. Lengthening your legs onto your mat. Wiggling your shoulder blades underneath you, turning your palms up. Maybe you want to rock your head from side to side. Get that great massage at the back of your skull. And then just closing your eyes. Allowing your body to soften. Letting go of any tension that you're holding in your body. We'll just stay here for just a few minutes and then I will guide us out. And very slowly bringing movement back to your body. Maybe you want to take a nice deep inhale and stretch, lengthening the spine, and then drawing your knees into your chest and rolling on to either your left or your right side. Pausing here and just noticing how you feel. Taking a little bit of the yoga off the mat with you as you press up to a seated position. Bring our hands together at the heart space. So grateful for each one of you and joining us in my practice this morning. The light in me honors that same light in each one of you. Namaste.